guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Nell. I am your astrologer, and today we're going to be talking about Libra risings. This is the third installment on this channel on the High Vibe, where we're talking about astrological placements. We've already done sun signs, we've already done all of the moon signs. So if you're interested in learning more about that aspect of your astrology, the astrology of somebody you know, a celebrity, whatever, go check those out. There's some really good videos up in those playlists. But now we're going to go ahead and do the rising sign playlist. And I'm so excited because this is really where the conversation can begin. Rising signs are like, what do I want to say? They like start the chart. They're the starting point of everything. They help us to understand how one's chart is oriented so that we can really have the conversation about what aspects of your life are being affected by particular transits based on their location. The chart is kind of like a map and a clock came together. And I'm showing everybody else, so I'm gonna show y'all. This is actually my master chart, but we're just gonna tilt it to make it make sense for Libra. So where is Libra? Libra's here. So Libra would be in the first house, which is basically just talking about like, this is where the sun was, the horizon was upon your time of birth. So that's why it starts here. And then the starting point lets us know where all the other signs lie, because the chart is obviously broken up into 12 different sections. Each section is ruled by a particular sign. Those sections are called houses. Each house is kind of represents a part of our human psychology, the human condition, the state of life, right? And so let's go ahead and get into it. I've been trying to tell everybody these videos are intended to be 20 minutes long. I want to keep them concise for you guys because I want to give you this much information in this much time, and then moving forward, look forward to some other series that will come in and kind of fill in the gaps. Because today we're just going to talk about the most influential angles: the first house, fourth house, 7th house, and 10th house in our chart. These are the heavy hitters, okay? So we're going to talk about those, and then there will be other videos to come where we'll go through each individual house and talk about what each house is ruled by and what it represents, blase split. And of course, if you like a more in-depth reading, you can always get a session with me, and we can sit down and go through your particular chart and talk about your astrology. So without further ado, let's get started. So for a Libra rising, of course, your first house is in Libra. Very, very interesting. What is this? First house is our personality. It's our first impression. It's how we come across upon you know, like initial meeting. It's how our energy is filtered through, regardless of whatever else is going on in the chart. Whatever else is going on is going to be filtered through this lens, this speaker, right? This is how people are going to perceive it. This is what it's going to feel like. Libra is here. So Libra is it's ruled by Venus. It's a cardinal sign. So what does this mean? It means that my ring's trying to pull my hair out. Don't do it. Anyways, it means that you guys come off super palatable, super relatable, often beautiful. Venus represents beauty, but it also represents just acceptance. It represents what we like, what sets us off, what excites us, our sensual pleasures, our five senses, right? So things that appeal to the physical, the five senses. But it's mostly what I find with Libra, which I have a major Libra placement. My moon is there. And I know people with Libra risings, it lends to this very malleable personality type that can easily adapt to the disposition of others in order to have a sense of relatability and connection through communication. And it doesn't necessarily have to be verbal communication. It can be nonverbal communication. It can be just a simple understanding of, oh, you know, that's your space, or, you know, whatever. It's just picking up on another person's energy and being able to kind of match that. And in a way, it gives this sort of charm, this sort of just natural, they have natural barometers and tend to be able to meet people where they are, which makes them very diplomatic and agreeable people just overall. Now I have my notes here, so I'm gonna check down here, make sure I'm not missing anything. But yeah, I'm missing graceful. It makes them very graceful people. They tend to be very socially adept. Again, just being able to kind of come in and read the room. And this is regardless of if that person has that as a talent. Like, they might not be able to read the room on a larger scale. You get what I'm saying? But on that very primal, first impression, they're going to at least attempt to zhuzh you up the right way. Um, Now, we could talk later about what happens if they try that and it doesn't work. Then the personality kind of just, it becomes an inverse of itself. But we're not going there. You guys are known for your harmonious and aesthetically pleasing appearance, physical appearance. And you make the effort to try to maintain a sense of warmth within the connection, the relatability. You will make the small talk. You will shoot the shit and talk about the weather. You want to keep it light. Although if a person is expecting something a little bit deeper, you will kind of go there with them, but still an air sign, still in the air sign. So we're not going to go too deep, but definitely would give a listening ear and try to offer some words of advice. Very approachable, natural sense of style. And you, by all means, do try to avoid the conflict, which is what I mean by earlier when I said no. We'll talk about what happens when the personality is not very well received. It's kind of like, at that point, you're like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and shut down. And in the nicest way possible, even then, because whatever's going on is your problem. Let it be your problem, not mine. Now, an upset Libra rising, that's a totally different person that we talking about, a totally different video. I'm not even going to go there. But, yeah, first house basically talks about your personality. It just talks about like how you come off to people. So these are the traits that you're known for. You tend to be pretty charming. So you could be really good at sales or customer service or teaching or anything where you kind of got to get them to buy in order to make the successful thing happen. Social situations, you tend to be pretty easy, but you do have your moments where you don't always want to have to go out and turn the thing on, because it's definitely a mode that you turn on, but it almost will turn on involuntarily. Like, you're the painstakingly kind type of people. And I'll say this, a lot of times I feel like the Libra is so nice and agreeable that sometimes strangers get a little bit of a better version of them than the people that they really, really love and care about, because of that involuntary, like, want to be nice when they get home. It's kind of like that Alec Baldwin, Nikki Giovanni conversation where she's like, well, fake it for me, why don't you? And he's like, what do you mean? I have to fake it all day long. She's like, yeah, and they get the best of you and I get the least of you? What do you mean? Anyways, Libra risings. Moving on, fourth house. Okay, the fourth house, we're going to talk about that because that is your early childhood life, as well as just like your inner mental faculties. There we go. It's how you think. It's how you process things. It's the way in which your mind is set up to process information. And so it's that nature versus nurture conversation. What you saw growing up versus how you kind of interpret it and choose to spit it out. And so yours is in Capricorn, which, all right, here we go. When we start talking about that, what happens when we affect the emotions of a Libra rising person, okay? Because the emotional center is a little bit frozen. It's a little bit shut down. It's a little bit reserved, cold, airy, but not in an air sign type of way, in an earth sign type of way. So it's like, we're gonna you ever been to New York and they talk about that hawk? That hawk is outside. That's the energy that's flowing around your fourth house. And fourth house does talk about relation to the mother. It does talk about relation to your inner child and how you reparent yourself. And so Libra risings, my theory is y'all are so nice on the outside because Lord forbid we really know what's going on in there. And I hate to break it to y'all like that, but that's really how I feel. But and leave some comments down below. Let me know if I'm right or if I'm wrong, if I'm missing something, because I'm not in your shoes. I'm not in your body. I'm not having the soul experience you're having. But Capricorn has some nurturing qualities that I do think that we overlook sometimes as a society. We like to think of that as, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It's super harsh. It's super, all the things I just said, cold, airy, concrete even. But I think that it has that tough love element to it, right? So if you can learn responsibility and learn the lessons that Capricorn is trying to teach one, you can come out with some tools in your tool belt. I do think that it's still a little bit, those tools are still a little bit rigid and less socially, emotionally aware that the coping mechanisms that you've learned are not the healthiest coping mechanisms. Although you survive in the end, by what means and to what end. What did I put here? Early home life may have been structured or disciplined, but a lot of times what I see is the rebellion aspect of that. Like the structure and the discipline, it does teach you something. It's almost like, you know, the action movies where, okay, the girl is a Russian spy and you learn that what makes her so bad is she was raised by her father and he didn't give her any, like they never hugged or said I love you, but he taught her how to kill. Like that type of shit where it's like, okay, it works, you know, but it's very achievement focused. It's very put the carrot in front of yourself. That like your main motivation is not, or your main sense of comfort, motivation for comfort. Like it's home is in the hardship. Home is in the hardship of it all. Everything has always been at an arm's length to away. Family dynamics may have emphasized responsibility, stability, and material success. Growing up, learning to suppress your emotions in order to meet practical demands. That's a really, really big one that I pick up on a lot. Like, again, just not having the tools to really process things or grieve or accept. It's just about getting your done. And a lot of times that gets in the way, right? Can't see the forest for the trees because you're too focused on bullshit. Often they must earn emotional security through work or accomplishments, and y'all do treat yourself like that. You treat your kids like that. You treat your spouse like that. And so, my biggest advice to a Libra rising would be just realizing that the links that you go through to try to relate to everyone else, you got to put that same work and same love into yourself, because again, Capricorn has these major healing qualities that I think people miss out on. And especially if you have any planets down in that lower element or making aspects to the Capricorn energy in your chart, you got to use those things in order to soften. You got to soften yourself, and that might cause you to harden to other people, but that's okay. It's the balance. Libra got to find the balance, because whenever you're imbalanced, that's when things go awry. So let's get into the next house here, because we got to pick it on up. 7th house is Aries for you. Okay, so, and this is another area where, all right, this could go a plethora of ways. Now, remember I was telling y'all about the chart. Okay, the thing about the chart and how it's like a map is there. Okay, so these areas or sectors that I'm telling you are ruled by certain signs are kind of landmarks, but then you have planets and things that serve as larger landmarks or energy centers where, you know, if you're low on a certain amount of fuel, I can tell you, okay, go over to where your sun is and boost up there. Go over to where your Jupiter is, blah, blah, right? So for y'all, this area, which is 7th house, rules partnership. It rules your mirror self. It rules how you show up for people and the types of people that you attract. So with that being said, it's like the mirror in your chart. So this is one of those areas where you're going to go to find that energy that's going to help balance the people-pleasing energy. Okay? All right. Now, a disclaimer to anybody that's dating a Libra rising. Hands up. I'm guilty. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, you gotta fuck with these people when they're healed, because when they're not, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Sorry. Because they're gonna project everything onto you. That Libra is such a beautiful energy, but it also has its caveats, and one of them is supreme codependency. And so, all right, let's take it back to the house we're talking about, 7th house. The 7th house is going to help you to balance out those people-pleasing, codependency types of energies and tropes. Hey, I don't like that bang. I hate that bang, actually. Whatever. These type of people-pleasing types of tropes from your chart, right? And how? Okay, because Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of war. It's the planet of fuck around, find out. No, I'm just kidding. It's the planet where we find our vitality, our aggression, our sexual pull. And so, all right, you might have some pretty heated love affairs, romantic situations with people that, you know, really feel like they light your fire, okay? But it can also turn into violence pretty easily with you. And it can also turn into just like this, like, friends to enemies type of thing. And it might even vacillate back and forth, which is like, ugh. You know, and this is where the Libra tropes, you gotta fight back, okay? Because what we don't want is for, like I said, you to be treating people in the outside world much better than you treat the people who are actually holding you down and actually in partnership with you, because there's this internal fight that you're having because you're not able to be your true self. So maybe you just need to take advantage of that Aries energy, and instead of trying to partner and dominate, because that's what that is. Aries is like the emperor, the dominator, the the one that wants to be on top, right? Sometimes you got to put that energy on yourself and just be with yourself for a minute, you know, and just really find your inner ruler, your inner authority, and act it on yourself, and treat yourself how to treat a person, basically, is what I'm saying. Let me see what I said. Attracted to passionate, bold, and assertive partners. Yeah, so you don't want another person to come in and put that energy on you and be trying to passion their way into running your shit or asserting onto what you're gonna do. You seek relationships where you can balance your diplomatic nature with their partner's fiery side. That is what you should do. Is seek people who help you to find your voice, who help you to find your balance, not people who try to push you more into making you lean into that codependency. Struggles arise when the partners are too aggressive or too impatient. That definitely can happen because y'all will definitely flip flop, boop the bop on a person to the point where, like, instead of saying no, you'll just not make a decision, or, you know, do the stalling thing. And I think that the way that you avoid that is by not over promising to people to the point where, um, to the point where your partner becomes aggressive or impatient with you. Like, that's really the sauce. That's actually the sauce. Is you got to learn how to kind of please yourself. And that's where that Capricorn can come in, because you got to be sturdy in your fourth house. That's where you got to have your mind made up. And I think that y'all sometimes, because of that cool tendency to want to avoid conflict, you try to, like, mull over certain things, knowing that you're the divine authority in your own life. Like, nobody's gonna make you do something you don't want to do, but it turns into this power struggle. It really is. It really does. Like, you would be so surprised at how much power struggle is kind of the theme of a Libra rising's chart, to where they gotta really hold on to their sense of self and actually, like, work to actualize it, because other people's energy will come and eclipse it, or even sometimes I think they get themselves into situations where they end up over giving. But anyways, the last note I have on seventh house is that you prefer partners who help them take decisive action. When you can get into a harmonious flow with a person that is helping you to take the action that you want to see in your life and in your world, that's how you know you've got a good mix, because the tendency to want a partner is going to be very strong. So you gotta, it's not just about being alone, you know, but when you get to a certain point, it's like, okay, you got to deal with yourself and realize that the imbalance is starting from you. The call is coming from inside the house type stuff, you know. But once you can identify what it is that you need and what type of partner helps you instead of hurts you, and you can erect certain boundaries with yourself, it'll be much easier. The last house I want to talk about is the 10th house, house of Cancer. So Cancer is all about, again, that diplomacy, but through emotional inspiration, taking charge through emotional inspiration. So people with Cancer in the 10th house tend to be really good advocates. That's the first word I'm hearing. You really want to speak up about causes and things that bring charge to your heart. You want to call people to action. You want to rally the people. You want to lead a thing. You want to provide some sort of shelter or protection to a certain, you know, section of people, or to a certain cause. You really want to push something. Cancer energy to me is about divine action, guided action, and really having an emotional like buy-in, an emotional pull to whatever it is that you're doing. My notes, all I have is known for being empathetic, nurturing, and community focused. So yeah, really community based, career type of thing. Because 10th house is all about career. 10th house is about status quo, our standing in society. It's about how people see us. It's the highest point of our chart, so it's really where all of our energy sort of like all of these signs and these angles that we're talking about bounce off of each other and culminate to this highest point. So everything that we talked about before, right? Your diplomatic nature, your super charming nature, your really stick-to-itiveness and get down to the bottom of it attitude, right? Your mental ability to stay, because that Capricorn is also focused. It's authority. It's understanding somebody's got to take charge, and so you really like to have your mental health intact. Sometimes I think you have some blind spots. Not gonna fucking hold you. Not gonna hold you. That, you know, when you're clenching too tightly, a lot of times you do miss out on things. So you might be just holding on a little bit too tight, but there's still that groundedness about your 4th house that really does help you. That appreciation of the fiery, of the independence, right? So you really want to help to empower people. You want to feel empowered. You like for a person should come into another person's life in order to push them towards their highest self. Your cross is cardinal. It's all about, you know, taking action and moving forward. And so all of these signs are lending towards that. And then we get to the top, and it's this, even if you are a man, this sort of divine mother energy where you want to contribute to the world. You want to not just do things for personal gain. You know, of course, you like the finer things in life and all of that, but you want for there to be a certain sense of social justice is what I'm feeling. And for there to be some heart behind what it is that you're doing, regardless of what it is. You could be a fucking electrician, but, you know, maybe you own your business and you want that to be a legacy business for you and your, you know, your future generations, or you take over the family business or anything like that. Even starting a business, it could just be not even starting a business. You could be in a career where you're like, I'm gonna be an upstanding citizen in this motherfucker, okay? Y'all are gonna, you know, and there is that sense of, I say have your own business, and I'm getting ready to end this video. I say have your own because something about your chart screams to me, you do better when you can be the end all be all, when you can have the control, when you can establish dominance. If not your business, you're going to rise to the top of the ranks, or at least be offered certain positions of power. But I think that if there is injustice in the workplace, you might be the type of person where it's hard to keep a job because of that. You might be able to get a lot of jobs because you're so charming and you worked in so many different places that you completely understand what the employer wants to hear. But once you get there, if you sense bullshit, I don't see that going well. I just don't see that going well. You are the type of guy, like you, Capricorn 4th house, you at home studying the policy book so that you understand. Just okay. So, I love y'all, Libra risings. Like I mentioned before, if you like a personal reading with me, you can visit the link down below. Everything is listed in my link tree. I would really appreciate it if y'all would like this video, share this video with somebody that is a Libra rising, that knows a Libra rising, that is interested in astrology. I would really appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel, because you know what I'm saying, we got more stuff coming. All of that being said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending a couple minutes with me, and until next time, peace.